Agenda and our time crunch, so we're gonna be moving along here tonight. First item, ground bed rectifier easement, Airline High School for CenterPoint Energy. Mr. Cottom.
Yes, ma'am. Chairperson Smith, Superintendent Rowland, committee members, I've been contacted by, CenterPoint Energy. They were reviewing some records and they noticed that for this piece of equipment, they did not have an agreed easement for this. This is located near Viking Drive at Airline High School property. This is basically a 5-foot wide L-shaped piece of property that they bury this anode device that helps prevent corrosion on their gas main that runs along Viking Drive. So, any questions?
Any questions?
Madam Chairman, make the motion that we approve the easement.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Darby. Please vote by show of hands. Passes unanimously. Mr. Newman's not here, though. Okay. Number 2, yard goats. Extended facility usage agreement for Benton High School or Benton Middle softball field.
Yes, ma'am. So this is a non-U baseball team that is requesting to use Benton High School and Benton Middle for practices. Oh, sorry. And they have submitted their insurance certificate, and the whole harmless agreement has been executed and approved by Ms. Clark and Ms. Spinney, and everything seems to be in order with this. Any questions?
They'll be communicating through who to schedule their practices so they do not interfere with anyone else's.
They will be, should be the principal. So Ms. Clark, and I did talk to Mr. Machin too, if they have to use the facility. Actually, the coach, or John McKenzie, he's actually an employee at Benton Middle, so they will be communicating with the principals.
Okay. Any questions? Entertain a motion.
Madam Chairman, make the motion that we authorize extended facility usage agreement with yard goats for the use of the facilities at Benton High School and Benton Middle School as recommended by staff.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Darby. Please vote by show of hands. Motion approved. Ms. Brotherton says as long as it's not goats eating grass, she was fine. Number 3, request approval of solicitation award bid 24-02 Bossier High School New Health Clinic presented by Carrie Douglas, Chief Procurement Officer. Ms. Douglas?
Thank you and good afternoon, Chairwoman Smith, committee members, board members, and Superintendent Rowland. Bids were received on January 30th for the construction of a David Raines Medical Center or clinic at Bossier High, while the low bid of $470 was slightly higher than the designer's estimate of $450. We feel that it is an acceptable and just bid, so we're recommending award of this project be made to Benchmark Construction and request permission for the superintendent to execute the resulting contract.
Any questions? Second. Okay.
I do have a question. We were down there the other day, and I know Mr. Newman called Jason and talked about the parking or the lack of concrete around the building that we're going to build. Is this going to have that included in there for parking?
No, sir, not in this project. We were going to look into that.
Okay.
It's something that I guess we considered, but it was taken out of the project due to budget concerns.
Okay.
But we're going to look at that.
Parking at Bossier.
Yes.
One thing that we want to do is we want to assess how much parking is going to be needed. A lot of the students will park in their student parking lot in their parking spots that come on. And so the only thing at Bossier High that when we begin to look at it is to see how many sick students that don't attend show up, on a daily or a regular basis, and to see what we need. And so we'll play off of that from that. But as of right now, most of that parking can be done in the student lot, and I think there's ample space for kids that are sick to come there and park. access the facility.
So maybe you'll have like some designated parking?
Yes, ma'am.
That will be up closer?
Just limited, I would say we'd keep that limited, and then things that, that would come after that, they could access through the student line. So I think we're in good shape there.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Brotherton, sorry.
I'm not on this committee, but I was just wondering, I was looking at the bids, there's a big difference in the bids. This one's a lot lower. Have we checked this company out?
So we called Benchmark Construction pretty immediately after the bid opening, and we explained the 48-hour window to review your bids, capture any errors that there may be, and you can withdraw your bid. He took that opportunity. He called us the next day and said, I am good with it. I do not foresee any problems with this bid price. So he is standing behind it.
Do we have any other things they've done to compare? I just want to get burned again.
I also asked him to send me a list of references of projects that were similar, if not maybe a little larger, for governing bodies. So he sent us a pretty lengthy list of things that he has done. Off the top of my head, the Monroe Housing Authority complex in and around Monroe they have worked on. They've done some work in Vivian and in Sterlington, obviously, and in the Monroe area. But he had it was a pretty good list of projects.
So we feel comfortable going ahead?
We feel very comfortable and confident
Okay.
in this contractor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we had a motion, Ms. Darby, and a second. Ms. Poole, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Number 4, authorize superintendent to award number 24-04 Russian Middle School New Health Clinic, which opened on February the 1st, 2024 at 2:30 this afternoon, and execute the contract.
So this bid was just opened this afternoon, and to not prolong the contract process, we thought we could go ahead and ask for permission for the superintendent to execute the contract after the 48-hour window expires on Monday, and that's the window I was speaking about earlier where contractors can review all of their bids. If they notice any errors, they can withdraw their bids. And so to not have to wait until the second board meeting of February, we thought we would go ahead and present to you the bids that we received today, so you would already have that information. And then on Monday, when that window expires, Mr. Rowland could go ahead and award that, and we could get that contract going.
Okay. And so this would be awarded to Architects General Contractors at an amount of $625,000?
Yes, and we did call Mr. Theodos this afternoon after the bid opening and let him know he's got 48 hours to review his bid, but he seemed pretty good with his number, but he is going to go ahead and go over it, and he will call me tomorrow and let me know. So if he does end up, for some reason, finding that he has an error, the second low, I think, is 645, which is still under the 650 designer's estimate.
Okay, do I have a motion to allow for the superintendent to execute this contract after the 48 hours? Ms. Poole made the motion, second by Ms. Darby. Please vote by show of hands. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Number 5, Bossier High School HVAC project presented by Stacy Roget, Director of Maintenance.
Good evening. We bring to you the Bossier High HVAC replacement project. This is for the summer to remove and replace a majority of the air conditioning systems for that deal. We are asking to be able to go out for a bid and bring those back to you. Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Bullard?
I'm sorry, yes, sir.
Mr. Roget, are any of the units that are being replaced, were they part of that major air conditioning installation back in, what was it, 2008, 9, 10, along in there?
These units have serial numbers for the dates of around 2004 to 2006, I believe. I'm not sure who the installer was at that time.
But so far as you know, they were not part of that fiasco?
I'm not sure. I wasn't privileged to all the information on that situation.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Darby. Here, second. Second by Ms. Poole. All in favor, please raise your hand. All approved. Motion passes. Number 6, Plantation Park Elementary School HVAC project. Mr. Roget.
Along the same lines of the previous project, this is replacement for the full school of Plantation Park to remove and replace air conditioning systems to start moving us forward to getting in line with our equipment and their dates of failure.
Okay. Any question?
The funding is through general fund. Are these fiscal 23-24 funds?
They will probably end up being split between several. Some payouts will come out of the 20, and Ms. Bamberg can correct me, but will come out, payments of work completed in the 23-24 will come out of that year. Payments out of the 24-25 will come out of that year.
Okay. There is funding available?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Entertain a motion. Ms. Darby made the motion. Second by Ms. Poole. All in favor, please show of hand. Motion passes. Number 7, gym renovation for new office complex. Mr. Roget.
Okay, this is a project that the administration has asked to bring forth to you to see about approving. We started working late spring, trying to find out how to make more room for some of the staff, support staff. That is, there are some offices with 2 to 3 employees in one small office, actually back to back in one desk in situations. So we were trying to find more room. We got a little creative, started looking at some of our available spaces within the area of the administration. So we started looking at the old gym, the old Benton gym that was built in the 1930s. It's about 12,000 square foot of space that we're using partially for surplus. So we come up with the idea of trying to renovate that for multiple reasons. One, to give us some more space for the office staff to be able to have a conducive working environment. We also believe that it would help us save that almost historic structure in town of Benton, sitting there right behind our central office. So we started venturing into how much that would cost, and we talked with an architect, got a few concepts to see what that looks like and if it's a viable project. In that, we're looking at that one building could create between 30 and 40, maybe more different office spaces in it. It would be modular, so mostly modular, so it can be expanded and maneuvered in different ways by partitions. It will free up about 18 to 20 offices in central office, so we could go in and revamp that, clean it up, and move in some more pertinent support staff into that area that meshes with that department a little better, so we can separate our departments in the way that they need to be. It would probably free up about a dozen offices in Annex 1, and it looks to free up about half a dozen offices in the library behind the big here that we can work with technology to where they can unload and use the overhead door instead of coming up elevators and working through the main corridor here. So there's a lot of benefits to that. It also has a few domino effects not listed here that when you start pulling staff from other departments, that may free up a little more space, maybe eval, maybe BASC. We haven't laid out all those dominoes yet. So we come to you asking to move forward, and I know it sounds quick, but we would like to use some of the ESSER's money, so we have to spend that by September. So if we could get moving forward on this project, we could probably get almost, maybe even past halfway through with the project by September and bill out a substantial amount of this project in the ESSER's funding. So that's where we're bringing it to you today. We were trying to get some last minute information together on this project over the fall and winter that we were working on. And that we would ask permission to move forward with professional services and to put the building out to bid and bring you back the bid results of that project if you see fit for this project.
Mr. Roget, we've already invested quite a bit of money in the roof system there, I know several years ago, and is that stopped the leaking? I mean...
We did some roofing. We still have some to do. So,
Okay.
yes, we would correct everything. We definitely wouldn't want any leaking in
But
there.
you've went in and looked at the building, and it's structurally there and ready for what?
We're not seeing a lot of structural issues. We're not seeing a lot of cracked brick or anything of that nature. So the foundation is obviously was done in a very well manner back in the 30s, and it has held the time. And we just don't want it to continue to dilapidate. If we can, you know, an office building of this nature would end up costing us between $6 and $8 million. There's examples of that throughout the areas that other boards have built. And we want to be frugal, and if we can take the advantage of this, then that's what we're just trying to do.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Mr. Rowland, anything you'd like to add? I know you kind of gave the board a little overview at a retreat, but...
Well, when Mr. Rosia and I and Mr. Collin began looking at the project, it's always an adventure to take something old and make it new. And we think the impact on the Benton community, what it would do for that, for those Benton graduates that see this building come back to life, to be able to use it as a place, as a meeting place, a large gathering place where we could have multiple departments to come together and meet instead of just having to come here, but those departments would be on site there at the main campus, at the main central office campus. And there's just a lot of nuances that go into it. Plus, and I think I spoke to you, I've been to two other districts in the last couple of weeks and looked at their new spaces and things like that. And like Mr. Roget said, it would save us roughly $6 to $8 million to convert this into a space where we can actually put our finance, purchasing, and food service departments in that space, bring student services over to the central office, and try to get away from having the public go into Annex 2, and plus utilizing this, the old BPSB bookstore where purchasing is now. Allow Mr. Thompson and his staff to have that for technology, so we're not elevating computers and all the technology that we have. We could offload over there and format from there. So just, man, it's a huge project. I think it'd be a great way to kick off. I think I think I told you guys wrong time frame, but some of the work we've done since last May in preparation for this could be an 8-month project.
Stacy said, yeah, as long as he's not doing it. Ms. Bamberg, if this was out of ESSER funds, I know that we just dedicated some funds out of that. If we're within this budget, do we have the money to do that in the ESSER funds?
Yes, ma'am, we do. The other two facilities that, the health centers were budgeted separately. This would fit within the remaining ESSER funds that we have available.
Okay.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Bullard?
Would you like to entertain a motion?
Sure. Go ahead.
I recommend that we authorize Bossier Parish School Board, authorize our staff to proceed with the individual project referred to as gym conversion for new office complex with contract amendments for design services and bidding of the project to be funded by ESSER funds as recommended by staff.
I'll second. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bullard and a second by Ms. Poole. All in favor, please show your hand. Unanimous. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I think it's a great need. I think for what we're getting for that amount of money and the ripple effect or the domino effect of what it's going to do for our district and the growth that we're going to hopefully enjoy over the next few years of our great district, it's amazing, the vision. And I commend Mr. Rowland Mr. Roget for seeing that as something that we can really put a good foundation into our district for future growth and impacting so many departments, that it's going to really help us get to where we want to get, greater heights, more growth in our district.
I agree, and the history of it is so important
It is.
because with the high school burning there and that surviving, and so, I mean, it is like a staple in the old Benton of doing that, so, all right, well, if there's nothing else, that concludes our meeting and record time. Great job.
And it's just fair, too.